Mephiles isn't trying to help you create a better future. He's trying to eliminate the past.
What? What are you talking about?
To discover what happened, it seems we must see what took place 10 years ago. Follow me if you want the truth.
Hey there everybody, it's me, Ray. And I suppose it's no secret that I have a particular love for the infamous Sonic the Hedgehog game that we all know and love as Sonic 06. For those who either missed the hubbub 10 years ago, have forgotten, or are just a fan who was too young at the time to remember this, let me break it down for you as best I can. Sonic 06 was a disaster. Enough said. It was unfinished, had painfully slow loading times, unpolished visuals, shoddy camera and controls, strange design choices, glitches like no tomorrow, a very confusing and weak storyline, very bare-bones character movement, and this thing.
With this machine, I'll be able to control the flow of time itself!
However, it should be worth noting that it's not entirely one side's fault when it comes to the blame for why this game came out as it did. Troubled development, changing deadlines, staff changes, trying to celebrate the franchise's big 1.5 for all available consoles, company contracts, and even switching development for different engines and a new generation of consoles can be seen as a valid reason. Also, we fans are insatiable and impatient as a whole, and our demand to have a new Sonic game on the new consoles at the holiday season may or may not have been a factor. Yeah, this game was released during the 2006 holiday season. Y'all remember what happened in 2006 when the Wii, PS3, and Xbox 360 were launched? Remember the hardware failures and lack of game support and all that? I do. It was a dark time for gaming, yo. Back on topic. Sonic 06 is certainly a game many may think of when they think about game failures. This game has long since been pulled from the shelves because of poor sales, and while it's not expensive to own, it's still hard to find a new copy that hasn't been named in some way. I myself have 2 copies, because I wanted to. Sue me. But if you were to take the time to really push past the junk and really look at what this game had to offer, you might be pleasantly surprised. Because everyone and their grandma's dog is prattled on and on about how horribly broken this game is, I thought I'd spice things up and offer a more positive retrospective on this little nightmare. That's right, something good to say about Sonic 06. Y'all probably think I'm crazy. Nah, I know I'm nuts. I know you think so too. But you know what? I don't care. This is my video, and if you disagree, then good for you. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to speak mine. So, let's begin now, shall we? And should I really need to say this? I mean, considering how old it is, but I guess for the sake of everything. Be warned, there are spoilers in this video if you have not played or seen the cutscenes of this game. Okay, so let's start things off. The good CGI cutscenes. It's rather sad when you get a startup that sets a certain something to expect, only to be blindsided by something like this.
Why are you helping me?
No special reason.
Ugh, that's a major downgrade, even for its time. Just as a frame of reference, Sonic Adventure 2 was released only 5 years before Sonic 06. The SA2 in-game graphics and the cutscenes are nearly identical, and it helps keep you immersed in the story. Sonic 06 keeps flipping between rich, gorgeous visuals and Elise looking like she's a knockoff Barbie doll with her legs dipped in bronzer. It's jarring. However, it's worth pointing out that the scenes that have the most polish and effort put into the visuals are really wonderful to look at, and they load almost instantly. Elise looks really pretty when she's first shown. Can I get my hair like that? Sonic's cheekiness really shows, Shadow's introduction feels like he's really in a dangerous mission, and our first proper intro to Silver really sets the mood for what sort of desolate future he came from. And let's not forget how spot on the emoting is. The characters really come to life here. Even the have-done ones are fairly decent, and if not a bit shiny, too brightly colored, but the characters really move believably instead of looking like action figures in awkward stop motion. The final scene is probably my most favorite, as the lighting, environment, and character models are very well done. And quite honestly, I wouldn't mind if this was the direction they took for a Sonic movie. Look at that face there. You can really feel Sonic's joy and excitement. Next up, the music. If anything, the one thing we can all seem to agree on is how good the tunes are in this game. Not just the popular vocal tracks, the boss beats, and the level music. I also mean the event sounds as well. The character motif melodies are great, and each one is unique enough that you can listen to the sounds alone and figure out who the scene is focusing on and who is fighting with who. I particularly enjoy this neat one, called Elise Goes Alone, where it starts with some Eggman motif before Elise's music tune really mellows it out and all. I love it. Or this cool one where Sonic is racing against the clock to stop Eggman and Elise from dying in a fiery inferno. Or when Mephiles comes on scene, even Iblis's. Oh, and who can forget this lovely accordion jam? If you take the time to put the OST on a playlist and just have it run in the background, it's bound to have something you like. In fact, all the background music I'm using here is from the game. Neat! Also, My Destiny is a very gorgeous song, and I will fight you on that. Next up, giving us Mephiles in Silver. This is the thing we do have a debate over, really. Some of us love the characters, some of us wish they never happened, some like one or the other. Me, I like both of them. I think Silver is cutely designed, and his initial backstory reminds me of Future Trunks from Dragon Ball Z, to which I'm a fan of as well. His gameplay may have been infuriating, but he had an overall fun idea to it: psychokinesis. As a fan of characters like Mewtwo and Raven, I really like the idea of characters who can move stuff with their minds, and Silver is not only fits that mold, but also among the earlier set of Sonic characters to have an ability that's not just an enhanced attribute, like Sonic's speed, Knuckles' strength, or Tails' intelligence. Having a psychic character added to the mix was nice, and made sure that Silver didn't play like simply Sonic or Shadow with a new coat of paint. It's just a shame that his controls are a bit broken, and that you really have no margin for error if you want to pull off a combo move. However, between you and me, I like using him in 2-player mode against either Sonic or Shadow in a race, because you can use his powers to freeze them for as long as you hold the button down, ensuring that slow Silver will have a guaranteed win. That is, if you can get anyone to play 2-player mode with you, much less react fast enough. Is there even any footage of that online? I also think that Mephiles is cool and so cliche that it makes him funnier to me than he should be, and that's why I enjoy that dork. He's basically everything any one of us could have come up with when we were trying to design a bad guy on the spot for our make-believe games, and his over-the-top theatrics are just too silly to me. I can't help but giggle every time he goes on with a speech of some kind.
Just as a flower comes from a seed, or a chicken comes from an egg.
It probably helps that Dan Green gave him his voice in the English audio, who was a 4Kids fan favorite, mine as well, for over-the-top bad guys. Also, some programming quirks really bring out some rather interesting elements to the guy. Next up, bringing Blaze to home consoles. Let me start off by saying that until a couple of years ago, I never owned nor played a copy of Sonic Rush or even its sequel, so this game was my first game with Blaze the Cat. This was my only direct source of information on her at the time, aside from a side story in the Archie comics my friend had, and my next game to feature Blaze would be a tennis game, so forgive me if my personal view of her is centered around her 06 counterpart. But my goodness, this one shot of her alone is just amazing. I was like, who is that? She's cool looking. Is that a cat? Is that a purple cat? I love cats in purple. And then she died. Or did she? No one really knows. But my only gripe here is that her involvement with the plot was much too short, and I would have rather that her levels were a bit longer. I mean, you could download the DLC, which I did, but that costs money, and a lot of people were cheesed off about that. Alright, coming up next. Some of these glitches are actually fun. I don't have much of my own personal footage to show, but let me say that, as the title of this point says, some of these glitches are actually fun. Who could ask for an easier way to hack and manipulate the game without risking damage to the game or game files? You can spawn extra characters, reach areas you were never meant to, spit in the face of the established physics, and even cause the game to go haywire just for laughs. The day I realized that the purple shoe gem was bugged beyond all reason, and that Omega could actually float upward on an incline, this made some levels far easier than before. Maybe bringing another shadow on scene caused the timeline to collapse, or using poor design to skip half the platforming to make your score better, I don't know. But I like it. Okay, next up. These cute little moments that serve no purpose but to please us. Clearly bits that show that there was going to be more detail put into the movements, and they are honestly easy to miss because they tend to be in the background, but I like that sort of detail. Here's some of my favorites. Elise's character development. Hate on her all you want, you can't deny that she went through a bit of character development on screen. She went from being a timid little flower to deciding she had it with Eggman's malarkey and is going to take action. Sure, she kind of reverts back to a helpless damsel in distress once Sonic's back on scene, but she, as she says here,
been frightened many times. I've also enjoyed this adventure. It allowed me to be something other than a princess. I was able to be myself. A girl.
It sounds like being a princess isn't that easy.
You have to remember that Elise was raised to be strong and able to contain her feelings with the knowledge that the fate of her country rests in her hands. Considering that by the time she was 7, she lost both her parents and was expected to step up as the royal figurehead of Soliana, though they do have a mayor who probably helps out with things, but I don't know, they weren't too clear on that or anything. She loves her country and her people, but she's still a kid. For all we know, Eggman appearing in Soliana to take over and Sonic showing up to rescue her is probably the most crazy, adventurous thing to happen in 10 years. And while many may complain that she was being selfish to tell Sonic that she didn't want to erase their time together from their memories in order to restore the rest of time, just remember that the fate of the world was resting on her for most of her life, and she had to ignore her feelings to keep everyone safe, which is a lot to ask of a 17-year-old orphaned girl. Can't expect her to be completely okay with this, considering that the whole Solaris incident was controlled in her life for as far back as she can remember. She still chose the right choice in the end, at least, and even then, her friendship with Sonic was so strong that they both got to keep those memories in their heart and soul. Okay, next up, Shadow being a GUN agent. This is more amazing than you'd think. Let's look back at Shadow's history for a moment and remember that GUN really screwed him over 50 years ago by taking all that he cared about, destroying it in front of him, and persecuting him for his origin. With that in mind, you'd think he'd want nothing to do with GUN ever. Then Shadow got his own game, and the GUN conflict continued until the end, where the mistake was finally realized, and Shadow was finally seen as the force of good he was meant to be. The President even requested to the GUN commander that they should work on keeping Professor Gerald's legacy alive by striving for a brighter future. Shadow was given closure and also decided to let go of the pain in his past so he could move forward. What better way to do that than to work with the new generation of GUN soldiers and become one of their top agents? Many might complain that Shadow would never work for the people who murdered his family, but the Ark incident was about 50 years prior, so those involved were either retired or dead, and the new agents probably know nothing about Shadow beyond the events that took place between Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic 06, which is like 4 games or so, I think. Heck, the commander was a child when the arc happened, and he looks aged enough to consider retiring soon anyway. The point is, Shadow becoming a GUN agent and working with Rouge was a great idea. Really. It's an easy way to tell us that he's doing good for himself and is working on making amends and letting go of things. Hatsune the Pigeon. Do I really need to say this? Here's all you need to see. It's been almost a decade since Sonic 06 came out, and it's actually astounding how much of it still manages to stay alive today, despite many attempts to kill it once and for all. As Silver puts it,
Just rise up from its ashes again. What's the point of all this? It'll never end.
and I really believe that this game's infamy has made it as powerful as it is to still remain in some sort of twisted canon of the Sonic franchise. While we have been split apart by those who are true fans who hate the game and true fans who like it, we can't deny how much this game has brought us closer together as a fandom over the years, to the point that Sega themselves are poking fun at it with us. But remember, no matter what happens, at least it wasn't Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. This has been Ray Logan. Thanks for watching.